everybody. Welcome in. It's the Michigan Football Postgame Live, along with former Wolverine Jim Scarcelli. I'm Dennis Fithian. Michigan wins it 31-7, 1-0 in the Big Ten. This was their opener today. Scar, pretty nice game when all said and done for the Wolverines, although that third play where it went 69 yards right off the bat on Rutgers' first possession, it wasn't necessarily looking like that, but almost after that, clear sailing.
Yeah, that's why the guy is called a safety, Denny. You know, I learned a long time ago as a coach, you got to have a good player at the safety position because he has got to be able to make that tackle. I don't think Rod Moore would have missed that tackle, but it is what it is. We got to get guys back. One of the good things about these guys being out is a lot of guys are getting playing time, you know, with Johnson out, Rod Moore out, but it's a big win. I think that team will win 4 Big Ten games. I think Rutgers will win 4 Big Ten games. They got one already, so it's not a blow-off win, and it's a good win. We're 4-0. We go to Nebraska. I'm fired up. The team will be fired up. We got number 4 back on the sideline. Life is good.
Yeah, that was Rod Moore. That was his first series of the year, so Sanders still slips, who ends up being the player of the game. But he slipped on that play, and Moore, who hadn't played, wasn't able to make that play, and it goes for the touchdown. And then Michigan goes 3 and out. I said clear sailing, but if you're somebody that worries about the games, Michigan goes 3 and out. And JJ, his first couple passes, I would say misfires, but I felt like Michigan did a pretty good job. I'll give it up to Sharon Moore. I thought the play calling, they had some. I know they had to go to the trick bag. But, I remember the first 3rd and 2, I thought, you know what, this Michigan is just going to run this ball. They're going to give it to Corm, and they're going to slam it up in there. Instead, they went to Donovan Edwards, and then, they had a double reverse and a flea flicker on that. So, then they started getting it rolling. However you get rolling, whatever it is, double reverse, flea flickers, or, throwing to the back out of the backfield isn't like tricky or anything. But I felt good with how they were attacking Rutgers and making some of those plays.
God, I feel like an idiot, Denny. That was Rod Moore. I thought that was Tab. Well, maybe that's an unhealthy Rod Moore as to why he missed. I feel like an idiot that was the guy. I wasn't sure who that was. But
he did switch his number. He was 19 and he was 9, and he hadn't played, So that was
okay.
it. So,
well, then you see, that's why you're the boss. You see the little things. Anyway, I totally agree with you. I thought Sharon Moore and the collaboration was pretty good. We are not a predictable football team. Well, sometimes it bugged me because, we take that first play of the game, we rip them for 4 yards, and then we throw it on 2nd down. But it creates that, that unpredictable offense. And a lot of that stuff you talk about the reverse back to JJ, and those are good things as long as you execute them and the players know what they're doing. And that's what I like about some of the trick plays we run, that, our guys know what the heck they're doing. And there was a lot of little things we did also, though, that helped our run game out. But creative play calling helps your offensive line, helps your quarterback, put the defense in conflict. Really some good stuff today.
Yeah, I thought that Michigan won this game. You usually do win games like this on the money downs, on 3rd down, and then certainly 4th down, and that's how it ended up playing out. Michigan on 3rd down, 8 of 13. You'll take that in almost any game that you play if you could come up 8 of 13. Meanwhile, Rutgers was held to 3 and 10 on 3rd down, and then on 4th down, Michigan 2 for 2 on 4th down. They needed some of those. They needed both of those. And then Rutgers was 0 for 3 on 4th down. And then obviously the play of the game was the 4th down that Agent Zero, Mike Stanris, still ended up picking off, and then didn't have his knee go down when it kind of looked like it, watching it live, and then, took it to the house. I almost thought Grant, and then who else was in there following? I thought there was going to be maybe a clip, maybe at the 25 or something.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. It was close, and that was the play of the game. I think it was over at that
Yeah,
point.
coaches will definitely coach up Kenneth Grant on that, and we work on that. We work on interception drill and not clipping, and I don't know what he was thinking there. They easily could have called that. But let me just go real quick, Danny. You want to talk some defense real quick? Minter, the guy is again, he impresses me. He's brilliant. He's smart. Did you notice he's got something different for every opponent. So we haven't showed this yet. Okay, we're coming out in a certain front. Okay, we line up in a certain defense. Great. Now their guy in the press box makes the call, what they're going to do against how we're lined up. And then just before the snap, we shift. We get into something different. And now we have an advantage. So that's and we lined up properly. We did the right thing, but it created problems for Rutgers offense. And we did it many times. We got a turnover off of it. So Minter again impresses me. Let's start with
were you surprised that Minter was giving so much cushion to the wide receivers, and they think, hey, if he wants to make these throws, we'll come up and tackle him. We just don't want to get beat deep. I mean, that would be
Danny. This kid is he hasn't proven that he's the real passer, that he's going to beat you with his arm. He's a good quarterback. He was a 4-star kid. This kid is, when he doesn't make, and he didn't make the big mistake today. He didn't. Other than the pick six by Sandstrom, but he's not going to know. I think that's why they gave such a big cushion there. Let's make him beat you with his arm. But having Mason Graham out is a factor. Grant is not there against those other guys got playing time. Benny got a lot of clock. Good got a lot of clock. Grant started the game, but it's the difference between them and Graham. So Grant has got to get better. He's got to get better playing the run. But 26 and 99 played a lot, and they were respectable. But we didn't get knocked off the ball, and the line of scrimmage was won by Michigan today. 94 is an all Big Ten player. He had a big stop on 4th down. He's just solid. He doesn't get moved out of there. DT inside play was good. I thought the edge play was pretty good. We started out rough. We let him get outside the defense a couple times, but our edge play was solid. Linebacker play was solid. We rotate all 3 of those guys. They're again, we're just getting good linebacker play. And 28, Danny, what's his name again? I draw a blank on his name.
Quentin Johnson.
Okay, well, that kid comes up and tackles. He's getting more playing time because Moore's out. He did some good things, and he comes up and tackles. And it was good to see Johnson back. He's kind of, you can see he wasn't, he'll get the rust knocked off. But overall, great job by men. And, Denny, when we play screen, that's 2 weeks in a row now on screen. We picked them off. Some of that stuff isn't by accident. When it happens that means coaches are working on it. We work on it as a team. We work on it as a defense. And that stuff is coached up.
All right, Scar, there are a lot of questions coming in. This game went so fast and over, like Michigan running the ball, like they could have had this one over at 2:45. And so you in the offseason were talking about this was going to be a big deal with the new rules and not stopping the clock on 3rd down. And the games are going by, fast. What about the pace of play for Michigan? So long drives are great if you could get up and, you're winning. But I don't know, you have to emphasize, you're always wanting to score touchdowns, but, almost, and you're emphasizing scoring first as well. But, man, you get behind and, the games can get over so fast. What about the pace of play? People are talking about these games are going by, at a pretty quick pace now. I know they think about it. What do you think as you're watching it?
Yeah, it changes the game, and it's a game like today. If I'm Rutgers, if I don't have the talent of the opponent, I want that rule. I want to shorten the game. So the rule helps Rutgers today. If they can in any way, shape, or form make plays, Michigan, the teams with better players, you don't want it. Speaking along that, I don't know if this relates to it, but we started the second half, Denny, with an 8-minute drive. I mean, we only ended up with a field goal, but that's huge, man. I remember as a player, we played Washington one time. They started the game with a 19-play drive. And, you never really recover from that sometimes. It just knocks you out as a defensive player. But that was great. Long drives. And, yeah, Denny, it's still the advantage for the inferior team from that standpoint.
14 plays, 753 for that 46-yard field goal, Michigan's first drive of the second half. You had Miles Hinton, and Carson Barnhart as the right and left tackle, and then they would put Ladarius Henderson in at left tackle and move Barnhart over to right tackle. Inside of a game, you watch that. I don't know. I know you've talked about it before. You got to be ready for that. It's going to be tough for me just, watching it, thinking about, oh, Barnhart's got to have his footwork to be, over on the left side. Then he's got to go over on the right side. And, Jake Butt was talking about what he wanted to see from the offensive line moving forward. And, he was talking about the inside zone where they're pretty much just, you're blocking straight ahead. He wanted to see more power and counter. And, so many times you diagram like you'll be on Monday and you'll say, look you got the center pulling, you got the guard pulling, you got, all these guys and all this misdirection, these counters and things. And Butt was saying he wanted to see more of that. He didn't say scrap the zone, but are there too many blocking combinations going on?
No, Danny. I think. Listen, I think that stuff is overrated. That you got to have only 5 guys playing there, and if you move Barnhart around, there's a lot of upside to having 3 good tackles that can play and feel comfortable with that. There's a lot of upside to that. So I'm signed on for what they're doing with the offensive tackle position. Sign me up for it. I'll take it. It's a good thing. We got 3 guys that can play. Barnhart's the best of them. But listen, our foundational stuff is inside, outside zone, and power. Those are our 3 best football plays, and we ran them all today. We had success with all of them. We finished the game off at the end running power where they knew we were running the darn thing. So it was great to see power. We ran power to Loveland a couple times today. We did some block things to kind of protect him a little bit, but I don't want to be predictable based on where our tight ends are. But Barner, let me talk about our offensive players. Barner's the real deal, man. We needed that kid. If Jim doesn't pick him up from Indiana, we got problems on offense. I'll tell you that right now, Danny. We can't run our stuff. We just can't. And that kid's got to stay healthy. He's like Scooney for us, man, because we can run. We're running behind him. You can talk about the other one who's going to be the best that ever played at Michigan, but we can't run behind him. We can run behind Barner. And 88 is getting in there, and he's got to get more work. But, Loveland's a great receiver. No question there.
Great catch today. Great catch. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm signed on for the rotation at tackle. I like it. I'm good with it. The other guys were real solid today. We got great center play, great guard play. And Barnhart is solid. He got better from last year. We were moving guys. That's a Big Ten defensive front. And Northwestern wasn't moving them. We were moving them though. And Shiano's a good defensive line coach, and we moved that front. But I'll tell you something I really like, Denny, from a play calling standpoint, and this gets to JJ. I don't want to run the kid because he's the franchise, right? I want to keep him healthy. But I liked what they were doing. It was like, okay, because I know it puts the defense in conflict. We ran quarterback keep, I think at least 3 times, maybe 4 times in big situations. 4th down one time we ran it, where he just pulls it out and goes around the end. And I like it that they're running that to the sideline. So he gets out of bounds. And I got to believe that's part of their thinking, that let's run him because it puts the defense in conflict, but let's get him out of bounds and slide and keep the franchise healthy.
Yeah, look, he is a talented runner. There's no doubt, but you could see that he was making the effort to get out of, you love seeing him run if he could just step out of bounds. I know he got pushed late in the game that, took a little bit of a shot there. And then he ran up the middle the one time and, went for it. He's going to have some of that. But, JJ, I don't know if it wasn't a rocky start, but he misfired a couple, but then he kind of got it going. What about Donovan Edwards? Look, it's weird because Donovan Edwards was great against Ohio State last year, ripping off the 75 and 85 yards. And it just wasn't like a one-game aberration. He came back in the Big Ten title game, and he was, he was awesome for Michigan. He had 185 yards on the ground against Purdue. And I know it was Purdue, but so far through 4 games, if he hadn't had all that, you'd say, man, this guy's he just can't hit the hole. He was close, maybe on that first or second carry. It looked like he was going to have a big gainer. He's doing work in the passing game. He's catching the ball and making plays there. So what would you think about Edwards and just maybe have him more working as I don't know, you say a third down back or a slot guy as a wide receiver, maybe put somebody else back there? What do you think they're thinking?
Yeah, he really misread one play I thought would have been a good run in there. He misread it. It was the power play, and he just whatever. He didn't read it right. A couple times the play wasn't blocked very well, but he is a threat in the pass game. We threw the ball in the flat early in the game. I think our first drive for a touchdown, and he did some things. But listen, he's a threat when we use him in all the ways that we use him. Okay, yes, he's not the same running back as Corum. He's just not. He's not going to give you that kind of deal there. But I would have liked to see Mullings get more playing time. I don't know why we're giving him the ball. I don't know why we're giving the ball to Donovan Edwards on 3rd and 1 right down there. We got stopped. Remember that one time we got stopped?
Yeah.
I wouldn't give it to him on short yardage like that. I'd put Mullings in the game or keep Corum in the game. I just put Donovan in there on other situations. I liked how we threw it on 2nd and 1, Denny. Sometimes I know sometimes it bugs you. It bugs me, but again, it adds to our unpredictability, and we had good success with it. And so some of that stuff is good. But yeah, I'm not frustrated with Donovan. I think he's got a pass block good, be a factor in the pass game. And he's just a different running back than Corum. He needs a little more space. He needs to play blocked a little better than Corum for him to have success. It's just reality. I think everybody sees that.
Vince asking about an update on a Sainristil injury. He said that he went to the injury tent limping. I actually didn't see that myself, but I am watching him. I took off right after the game and came down here and fired up the show, but I'm watching him here talking to Brooke Fletcher next to Jim Harbaugh after the game, and he's all smiles. That doesn't mean he's 100% or anything. So, but I don't know. We'll see what if there's any update. Probably not during any press conference, but I think it's good news that he's standing out there after the game talking to a Big Ten Network as the player of the game. So we will see when it comes down to that. Greg Schiano at halftime, speaking of interviews, Scar, I don't know if you saw this or not, if you went out to, grab a snack, Sainristil said that there are some things that are going on that aren't right. Like, to me, I thought he was intimating that, there's some dirty stuff going on with Michigan and, that they're going to address it. I think that's what he said afterwards. And then after the game, it wasn't just a handshake with Harbaugh. There were a couple words. I don't know if they were terse or whatever. So I didn't see that part, but do you have any read on that? I mean, did you see any dirty play or any extracurriculars that you could say, no. He's got something to be upset about there?
No, I don't know. Maybe he had problems with his headset, the locker room. Maybe he thinks we're looking at signals. I have no idea. Something that he didn't want to communicate to the media, will tell us because there was nothing that I saw from a play standpoint, but I don't know. He was, he had some hurt feelings. So I didn't see anything cheap out there. Yeah. He didn't, maybe, I don't know. The shifting, I bet you, Denny, when we shifted, maybe there was some verbiage coming out of because your linebacker someone will indicate that it's time to shift. So we all do it in unison, right? And we got a penalty on them one time. Maybe he thought we were screwing up their signals or something. I don't know. Hopefully he'll address it instead of just whine.
All right. Let's take some of the feedback here. AOKO said Michigan was excellent on 4th downs. Rutgers didn't convert any. Yeah, that was the story of the game and 3rd down. 3rd and 4th down conversions on both sides. Michigan was really good. Rutgers was not. That is a big part.
Yeah, you got to coach it, Denny. We coach it. We recruit better players, and that's weight room. 4th down is all that stuff, man. It's technique. It's weight room, bigger, stronger guys. Yeah, we were winning that thing on both sides of the ball, that 4th down deal there.
Yeah, Rutgers was 3 of 10 on 3rd down, 0 of 3 on 4th down. Michigan, meanwhile, 8 of 13 on 3rd down conversions, which was excellent, and then 2 for 2 converting on 4th down. And of course, the play of the game was by Mike Sainristil who picks off that screen on a 4th and 2. That was that was it was a 17-7 game at that point. They pick it up. You're talking about being a 1-score game. Hell, if they go in for a touchdown, you're talking about it being a 3-point game. Instead, it flips. They don't get 3. They don't get the first down, and they're going the other way. I mean, that's a 14, 10-point, whatever you want to say, swing, play of the game, ball game, second series of the third quarter. But yeah, 3rd and 4th downs, if you're somebody that's writing the story of this game, that's where you start on that play, talk about the 4th down conversions, talk about how Michigan did on 3rd down and how ineffective that the Scarlet Knights
I don't know, Danny. The defense, we gave up. We had one bad play. We got one missed tackle. We got one bad play. Defense wins championship. You take that one play away, it's the same old deal, man. Goose egg up there. So to keep that team to that one play, they put no drives together. I was really, really concerned defending Rutgers because every game I've watched them play, they run that quarterback all over the place. Quarterback powers and inside runs, and we had answers for all that. They bled us a little bit, but we really did a good job on all the quarterback run stuff that they had been doing in prior games. Now, in this game, Denny, I noticed a lot of safety blitz off the edge. So Minter must have saw something that he felt that was the answer to what they were doing. So a lot of safety blitz. He likes to bring Sanistrel off the edge, and great stuff, man. Gap sound, real gap sound today.
Well, welcome back to Will Johnson. I was glad that the refs picked up the flag on, and he said no good. And there's a little bit of a touch there, but it is football. So I think, they could have been a nickel and dimer on Will Johnson. That was a big play. I think a 3rd down certainly would have given, that was in close to the red zone. That would have been huge there for Rutgers. But, here's P. Maximus. There were a lot of people talking about that Rutgers was picking on Josh Wallace. I'm sure other teams will do the same thing moving forward. Look at, if it doesn't take, Greg Schiano, it could take me. If I'm looking over on one side and there's Will Johnson, I am going to the other side. That has always been the case. You're not going to throw at Will Johnson. He's one of the best corners in the country, if not the best corner in the country. You're not throwing towards Will Johnson. So you're always going to be throwing or picking on cornerback too. And, Wallace, there was one, he didn't need to put his hands on the receiver. And yeah, did he give up a play in there? Yeah, that's going to happen, but they're going to be throwing at him left and right. So, they're
a lot of that depends on, good luck with the defense figuring out if we're in man and zone, because we can't figure that out before, based on where he's lined up sometimes. So a lot of that stuff they have to figure out. But yeah, I don't know, is the coach coaching him up like that to give that big cushion today and saying, let's see if this kid can throw, because he hasn't been a guy that's really, proven he can beat you with his arm. I think our game plan was let's stop this run stuff from him that we've seen him do against everybody, and let's see if he can beat us with his arm. I mean, the kid, and he made some plays with his arms, and that's probably a lot of our game plan, a downside of our game plan.
Yeah, give it up to Rutgers. They made a couple nice catches, especially on that one drive. And there were a lot of people that didn't think that was a catch. I didn't see enough there on video to overturn it. But if the idea is just don't get beat deep and, let's really concentrate, because that you got to watch that mesh point and the running game. And if he wants to come out there and start, whipping it all over the field, you can adjust. But let's see if he's going to be able to take those throws and make those throws. And, after, seeing what they did with the first play, the first drive, the third play, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot out there. So, that's about it.
Anyway, this was a good game. Another running quarterback, because we're going to see it again with Nebraska. The Minnesota kid is an average runner with a good arm. But let's real quick, Denny, on the special teams, our kickoff team, we booted it into the end zone again, so that's a good thing. Our kick return, we muffed the punt. They got the young guy in there, 82. So we started the second half, 82, the young kid. What's his name, Denny?
Samaj Morgan.
Yeah, so he muffed the punt, but we started in poor field position, but that was the start of the 8-minute drive.
The kickoff.
He's getting some clock. They got a lot of faith in him, so he's a young kid getting out. They're throwing the ball to him. So Morgan is a guy. Punt. Punt return. I don't like how we're our deal there against that rugby rollout deal. We let that kid. They punted from their 15-yard line and they knocked us all the way down to our 15. Remember that one? That one punt, that change of the field. I don't understand how we're lining up and defending against the running rugby kick. I don't like it. We let that punter run around, and he had a hell of a punt, but I don't really like it. We were 1 for 2 on field goals. This kid's got to get settled in. We're just so spoiled, man. But hopefully he'll get more and more confident. And our punt team was solid, and so we didn't punt it much, but that was good to see the punt team was solid.
Yeah, and it was good seeing Colston Loveland snag that one pass, and then Samaj Morgan did catch that touchdown. And there was, you watch the first 3 games, a lot of Roman Wilson, Kojo, and a little bit of Loveland. So you're wondering, okay, what about after that? There's a host of, wide receivers. They had the 3 freshmen, and then, Morgan coming up today and comes up with a big touchdown. That was a pretty big deal, for him. That made it 14-7, the 18-yard TD. That was another long drive, 11 plays, 79 yards. And that one almost went 6 minutes. So that was good too. Another receiver, JJ came out and it wasn't great right off the bat, but then, looked pretty good. And, Corum looked good. This is something that we all say every game now. It's like, oh, he's back. He was saying that he was back in, the start of training camp. And then during training camp, he said, I'm back. He was on a podcast saying, yeah, he's 98%. Then in the first game, he's saying he's back. Last week, he was like, I felt really good. I'm back.
Yeah.
I think he's back.
I do too, Danny. I think he's back. He's playing like the best back in the Big Ten. He gets you those extra yards. He has good vision, and it's solid. And it's sometimes again that maybe we see him and then we see Donovan and we expect the same things, but they're different players. They're different backs. But I would have liked to see you'd like to see a second quarterback get reps, but I guess we didn't get up enough on it. But played a ton of guys on defense. We got 25 guys. I think they rotate in there that they feel real comfortable with, and so it was a lot of guys played and continuing to develop depth.
Yeah, after the 69-yard touchdown in the first series, the third play of the game, the defense was really rock solid. And you mentioned the defensive line, the defensive tackles, and I don't know, Derek Moore seemed to flash in there a lot. Saw 8-ball in the backfield. Looked pretty good from what I was able to see there. And you mentioned also Quentin Johnson already. I would put him down as somebody that would get a special mention. There was a 4th down play that ended up being a false start, but they went for it, and they ended up missing the field goal. But Johnson was the first one in the backfield there. Yeah. Made a nice play.
Jenkins was there too. But then you know something we're just taking for granted.
What?
If there's anything we learned last week, it's the thing old Scar always talks about, that Coach Schembechler always talked about. The most important thing is securing the darn football. And what did the Michigan football team do today? We were real good. Our punter caught the ball. Our snaps were good. Our long snaps were good. Our quarterback, if it wasn't there, he threw it out of bounds. Our running back secured the ball. So anytime you secure the ball, man, you really help your defense. And you give our defense a chance. So we're not starting in poor field position, but no turnovers, man. Again, it was a great from that standpoint.
I like it, Scar. All right. Well, we'll give you some final thoughts, but also how about, take a peek ahead, because now it's not the friendly confines of the big house anymore after 4 games. Now, for the next fortnight, it's 2 games on the road to Lincoln, Nebraska next week. And then it's to Minneapolis to take on Minnesota. 2 road games. Nebraska, which they have moved to a 3:30 start now next week. And then Minnesota after that. The little brown jug. How about these 2 roadies coming up?
Hey, listen, we're in good shape. Defensively, ton of guys. If I'm coaching, I feel real good about our defense. We got depth. We got guys playing well. I like our offense. We've got depth, tight ends, running backs, and we're going to go on the road with the guys that are experienced. Nebraska, they don't have the best players. They're going to be like playing a Rutgers. Okay, they're going to play hard. They're well coached. They're going to run a 3-3-5. It's a little different stuff they do on defense. Okay, we've seen 3-3-5, but everybody doesn't run it the same. People do different stuff from their version of it. So we got to figure out what they're doing and know how to block what they do. So we should be able to move the ball on them. They're going to have two quarterbacks that have started for them, and they can both run. So when you have two of them, they don't give a darn about running them. So we got to be prepared for quarterback run every time they snap the football, and that makes it tough on the defense. So got to have a good game plan, stopping quarterback run. We go on the road, and Lincoln's a tough place. It'll be loud, it'll be tough, but if we do what we did today from the turnover standpoint, make them beat us, we should be in great shape. Secure the football, we should be good.
And my final thoughts here, you want Michigan because all offseason you've talked about it and you thought about it. And this really hasn't been the talk for, 20 years, certainly 15 years, that you felt like Michigan going into the season, hey, they could really win it all. Wow. I mean, and then this is legit, especially after the last 2 years. So I think you're watching Michigan and you're expecting just like to come out and then to sledgehammer everybody and just look fantastic, and Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum and Loveland and Wilson and McCarthy to look like that. And it hasn't been exactly that. But, today was positive, especially after that third play of the game to come out. The defense looks excellent to me. I really like what, and getting Rod Moore back and getting Will Johnson. Now, I was going to say that those are the two best players on defense, but hell, you got a lot of guys like Chris Jenkins who, you could say, wait a second, what about Mike Sainristil? And Sainristil, the way this guy plays, he was in on that. He slipped on that first play to come up. He makes play after play. He's right in the mix there. They can leave him out on an island as a slot guy, and his technique is fabulous. He's a great leader. He's a two-time captain. You got to, if you like Michigan football, you like Mike Sainristil, and he showed that again today, making the biggest play of the game. So I think the defense is solid, and the offense, you're working towards something. I think Donovan Edwards is going to be okay. He's a weapon, that. And I was encouraged by the play calling from Sharon Moore. There was a lot of times that I thought, Michigan, this is Michigan. They just run the ball here. And they didn't. They came out and they went to the bag a few times. They threw it around. So overall, I think, I don't say very encouraging, but encouraging, 4-0. And now you're on the way, to hit the road. And I think you're a Michigan fan. You should feel good, if not very good, about where they're sitting. You're never satisfied. They're not satisfied either. But Scar, that's how I see it. And Danny,
it was a total deal that we were good. We had really good coaching on both sides of the ball. Minter and Moore. They helped our players. Okay, we got good players, but our coaches helped them. They made it easy to block them because we're doing different stuff. So I totally agree with you. It was an overall 180 guys on that sideline. Coaches and players were better than Rutgers. And don't forget, Scar's back on track. He had a winner because I did say Rutgers getting the 25. They were getting 25 on Monday, so they did cover with the 25. So
hey,
I'm back.
Nothing like getting down on Monday,
The line went to 24 later in the week, but Monday when I made the call, they were getting 25. So it was a total team effort by Michigan. We're rolling. We're confident. We're going into Lincoln. Look out. And I'm fired up, Danny. Fired up.
Yeah, I am too. We'll see how, I think you said you like Clemson at home, and they're, currently in overtime. So we'll see what happens here. Scar, enjoy the rest of the day. I'm going to, certainly. Thanks, everybody, always for watching. Hit that like button. Thanks so much for the 5-star reviews on the podcast. And that'll do it. We'll talk with you Monday. Scar will work through some of the tape, and we'll see where he's at after 48 hours to soak this one up.
All right, Danny, go blue.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli. Michigan wins it by a final of 31-7.